When someone hurts us, cuts deep into our soul with words or actions, we feel like we're victims. And in some ways we are. But the twist is this: we're not just hurt because of what they did, we suffer because of how we reacted to it. Let me break it down. The hurt comes from outside, sure, but the suffering, that's all internal. That's the fire we fuel ourselves. It's that emotional chaos, anger, resentment, humiliation, bitterness that bubbles up when we can't accept what just happened. Now here's the kicker. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can truly hurt you unless you give them that power. If your inner strength is solid, if your heart is expansive, then you can absorb even the nastiest stuff and still stay peaceful. Don't take it from me. This was Buddha's wisdom, straight from the ancient Anguttara Nikaya. He said, imagine you drop a handful of salt into a small bowl of water. That water becomes undrinkable, right? Too salty, too bitter. But drop the same salt into a vast river, it dissolves. The river, still drinkable, still flowing, still life-giving. The point? If your heart is tiny, shrunken by ego, fear, insecurity, then just a few harsh words can wreck you. But if your heart is wide, like that river, you stay chill, you stay whole. So next time someone disrespects you, mocks you, tries to tear you down, and you find yourself raging, spiraling into drama and pain, ask yourself, is my heart just a tiny bowl right now? Because that pain, that suffering, it's the signal that your inner space is cramped, that your emotional bandwidth is overloaded, and healing, real healing, it starts with expanding that space. You can't erase the past, you can't delete the moment of betrayal or the sting of those words, but what you can do is grow your capacity to hold it without letting it define you. Because waiting for the other person to apologize, to feel bad, to undo the damage, that's a game of pain. Most of the time that sorry will never come, or if it does, it won't magically wipe out your wounds. So don't wait for them. Go inward, breathe, heal, evolve. One guy who nailed this, a monk named Bhante Venerable Even, hardcore Vipassana practitioner. Dude's been meditating for years and turned some seriously deep scars into powerful transformation. Even had beef with his own family. And I'm not talking about light squabbles, I'm talking radio silence, resentment, pure emotional war zone. But through daily meditation, radical honesty, and inner work, he made peace, he forgave. And not the fake I'm over it kind. Real, rooted, heart wide open kind. Eventually he even moved back in with them. Lives with love now, and he's still doing the work, still choosing peace every day. He wrote a song, yup, a monk who writes music, called Freedom of the Heart. Lyrics go something like, I am a cloud, drifting free. I am the sky, open and endless. I am the bird, wings wide, gliding high. I am a flower, blooming under sunlight, giving beauty and scent, no condition attached. I am the sun, shining warmth without judgment. I am the earth, accepting every seed without resistance. And I am free, truly free, because my heart is open. Deep, right? But not just poetic. It's a blueprint. You want freedom? You want to stop being crushed by every toxic comment or betrayal? Then make your heart like the earth, like the sky. Open, unshakable. Even's message was crystal clear. To heal, you've got to expand your emotional space. See, when someone hurts us, our brain takes a snapshot. We lock that image in. This person is cruel. They did this to me. And we never update it. Even if they change, even if they become a whole new person, we're still reacting to that old version of them. That's where healing hits a wall, because we're stuck reacting to a ghost. But what if you opened up? What if you looked at them again, with new eyes? What if you admitted, maybe they're not who they used to be. Maybe they're trying. Your mind would flip. Your pain, it'd start to dissolve. Most emotional wounds stay open, not because the pain is fresh, but because our perspective never grew. We held on to a version of someone and locked ourselves in a cycle of judgment, fear, and resistance. But if you can let go of that fixed image, if you can say they were like that, but maybe they aren't now, you've just taken the biggest step toward freedom. That's what Even did. He went beyond the noise, beyond the stories, beyond the ego. He spent time in nature, listened to the silence, and let the lessons of the earth teach him how to be again. He practiced Vipassana, just observing the inner storms instead of getting swept away by them. When pain came up, he didn't push it down or lash out. He paused, observed, let it pass like a storm cloud, and each time his heart got cleaner, wider, lighter, and you can do the same. You're not doomed to carry these wounds forever. You're not broken, you're just human. But if you want to stop being the victim of others, of your emotions, you have to choose to show up differently. You have to believe, deep in your bones, that you have the power to clean your own house, to sweep your soul, to be free, because nobody else can do it for you. Even if the person who hurt you bends over backward, brings flowers, sobs with guilt, it'll never be enough to fully clean the stain unless you do the inner work. So stop waiting, start expanding, breathe deeper, live fuller, open that heart, and trust, really trust, that freedom is possible, that joy is real, that peace isn't just a myth monks talk about. It's yours if you're willing to grow. So if you've come this far, you already know, real freedom isn't out there somewhere. It's in here, right inside your chest, in the way your heart responds when life punches you in the gut. But now comes the real challenge. How do you actually expand your heart? What does that even mean? Is it just a vibe? Is it something you feel? Or is there a method behind the magic? Spoiler alert, there is, and it's not some fluffy Instagram mantra. It starts with seeing clearly, and I'm not talking about eyesight. I'm talking about perception. You've got to separate the person from the pain. You've got to get honest with yourself and admit the version of them you're mad at may not even exist anymore. Here's the thing. When someone hurts us, we take a mental screenshot of who they were in that moment. Angry, selfish, careless, boom. That's who they are now, forever, locked into that image in your head. But people, they change, they grow, they mess up again, then they learn, then they fall back. It's messy, it's real. If we don't give people space to evolve, we're not just punishing them, we're punishing ourselves. We get stuck in that version of the past. That pain becomes part of our identity, and healing becomes impossible. Let me give you something concrete. The person who hurt you yesterday might be the one who saves you tomorrow. But you'll never see that if you're still fighting yesterday's war. That's why Even said, the key to healing is to look again. Look deeper. Use new eyes. Ask yourself, is this person still the same? Or am I just replaying old trauma on a loop? Because most of the time, it's the loop. Now let's talk about those loops, those inner reruns of pain, judgment, and fear. Even figured out how to break them by observing his mind like a scientist. He didn't get swept up in emotions like a drama queen. He watched. When the wound came up, when the anger flared, he took a step back, didn't argue with it, didn't feed it, just observed. And slowly it started to lose power. This is Vipassana in action. Silent observation, no drama, no commentary, just awareness. And it's deadly to emotional baggage. Why? Because your suffering thrives in chaos. It lives in confusion. But the moment you bring in clear, calm awareness, it shrinks, it withers. It's like turning on the light in a room full of shadows. Boom, the fear fades. And then, day by day, your heart starts to feel lighter. Now let's get practical. Want to heal your emotional wounds? Here's what you don't do. Don't wait for the other person to apologize. They might never. Don't expect closure from the outside. That's your job. Don't tie your healing to someone else's behavior. That's emotional blackmail on yourself. Here's what you do. Observe your emotions without reacting. Acknowledge the pain without letting it control you. Choose peace over being right. And above all, trust that you are capable of healing. That your heart is strong enough to carry the scars without becoming them. Because healing is not forgetting. It's remembering without bleeding. Let me hit you with this. Most of our emotional wounds, they linger not because they're deep, but because we keep picking at them. We replay the scene, we quote the words, we refeel the insult, over and over, like a bad rerun of a show we hate but can't stop watching. You want freedom? Change the channel. Even said, don't become the victim of your own mind, become the gardener of your heart. Plant peace, water forgiveness, pull out bitterness like weeds. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about letting people off the hook. This isn't about pretending it didn't hurt. This is about choosing not to carry it anymore. Imagine you're holding a burning coal, waiting to throw it at the person who wronged you. But who's getting burned the whole time? Exactly. Now I get it. Some of you might be thinking, cool story, bro, but you don't know what they did to me. You're right. I don't, and I won't pretend I do. But I do know this. Carrying that pain with you every day is costing you way more than it's costing them. They've probably moved on. They're eating brunch, watching Netflix. Meanwhile, you're stuck in a memory prison. So what do? Let go, not for them, but for you. Expand your heart, not to be a saint, but to be free. And if you need proof it's possible, look around. There are people, real people, who've forgiven murderers, dictators, abusers, not because they're weak, but because they're done suffering. They chose freedom over revenge, peace over punishment. You can too. And you don't need to do it all at once. You don't need to meditate for 10 hours a day. Just start small. Sit still. Breathe, watch your mind, see where the pain lives. Then, slowly, clean it out. Because the real immune system of the soul isn't logic, it's compassion. Not just for others, but for yourself. Especially now. During the darkest seasons like the pandemic that rocked this whole country, we needed this emotional immunity more than ever. In places like Saigon, where fear and stress and uncertainty were sky high, what we needed most wasn't just medicine or masks, it was mental peace, emotional clarity, a break from the panic. Because pain is contagious, but so is peace. When one person lets go of their fear and stands calm in the storm, it ripples. When one person forgives, others feel permission to do the same. When one person opens their heart, it creates space for the rest of us to breathe. Imagine if an entire city started healing from the inside. If people stopped blaming, if families dropped their old grudges, if neighbors started lifting each other up, not just physically but spiritually. That's how we create what Even called a spiritual immune system. One strong enough to resist not just viruses, but hate, division, despair. We all want the same thing, to feel safe, to feel seen, to feel loved. And the fastest way to build that world? Start with your own heart. So here we are. You've heard the call, you know the pain, you've sat with it, looked it in the eye, you've realized the old trick. The more you resist, the more it persists. And now it's time to shift. To rise. This is your moment. Because every person who ever transcended their suffering had to make a choice. Either stay stuck in the story or rewrite it. And the rewrite doesn't begin with revenge or regret. It begins with responsibility. Not the kind that blames you, but the kind that empowers you. You own your healing. That's where your real power lives. Remember how we talked about Vipassana, how Bhante even didn't just run from his wounds but actually watched them? That's not just some monk-exclusive magic. That's something you can do too. Let me show you how. When the wound surfaces, maybe it's a memory, a voice, a face, pause. Don't distract. Don't scroll. Don't drown it in food or Netflix or scrolling TikTok at 2 a.m. Just stop. Breathe. Ask yourself, where does this live in my body right now? Is it in your chest, your throat, that twist in your stomach? Now breathe into it, not away, into. This is what Even did every time a memory from his past bubbled up. He didn't suppress it. He sat with it, observed it. He became a witness, not a victim. And something amazing happened. The wound lost its grip. Because when you witness a thought without judgment, it stops being a prison and becomes a lesson. Now here's another pro tip from Even. Nature is your healing ally. Go outside, touch a tree, walk barefoot, watch how the sky never holds on to a storm, watch how the ocean doesn't apologize for its waves. Watch how flowers bloom again every season, no matter how rough the winter was. Nature forgives itself. You can too. Even practiced what he called meditative living. He didn't just sit in silence once a day. He lived awareness, every moment, every breath, every step. He'd say, "I am not my anger. I am the one watching the anger." That simple shift, it's the game changer. Because you are not your trauma. You're not your past. You're not the person they hurt. You're the consciousness choosing what to do with it now. And guess what? That version of you, the healed, joyful, powerful one, is already inside. It's just waiting for space. So make space. Clean the inner house. Toss out the garbage thoughts. Open the windows. Let the light in. Even said, don't just forgive others. Forgive yourself for not knowing better, for staying too long, for reacting, for hurting, for carrying pain that wasn't yours to begin with. And if you really want to drop the mic on this healing journey, here it is. You don't need anyone else to change in order to be free. Let me say that again. You don't need them to change. They might never say sorry. They might never get it. They might never understand how deep the wound was. But your freedom doesn't depend on them. It depends on you. Because when your heart is big enough, river-sized, sky-sized, nothing can sink you. People can throw stones, but they won't even make a ripple. You've transcended. Now, let's zoom out. Why does this matter? Because healing isn't just personal, it's global. The more people heal, the more the world heals. You want a more peaceful world? Heal your anger. You want more compassion out there? Start with the grudges in here. Every time you choose love over fear, peace over pettiness, compassion over control, you're voting for a better reality. You're shifting the collective vibe. You're upgrading the energy field we all share. And that matters a lot, especially in tough times. Remember back when the pandemic hit? Everything shut down. People were scared, isolated, angry, tired. Saigon was hit hard. Fear was in the air. And not just fear of disease, but fear of each other. That's when this healing stuff became more than a theory. It became survival. Because it wasn't just a virus spreading, it was negativity, paranoia, division. But just like fear spreads, so does calm, so does love, so does sanity. Imagine if during the darkest hours of that crisis, we had more people grounded, more people peaceful, more people saying, we're in this together. Let's breathe together. Let's be human together. That's the real immunity, not just physical, but emotional, a spiritual immune system. And it starts with each of us taking full ownership of the energy we bring into a room, a conversation, a moment. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. So here's your challenge. Let go of the need to be right. Let go of the fantasy where they beg for your forgiveness. Let go of the anger that's been holding you hostage. And in its place, breathe in trust. Trust in your capacity to love again, to rise again, to be free again. Because as Trinh Công Sơn once sang, the heart gives us a place to return. Let it be that soft landing, that safe house, that clean, quiet temple where no bitterness can live. Let your heart become the place where old wounds come to rest, not rage. Let it become your refuge. Let it become your power. You've made it this far. Don't stop now. Keep expanding. Keep observing. Keep forgiving. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll wake up and realize you're free. For real.